Good day everyone and welcome again to our class. This is the second lesson in health for the third quarter, and what we are going to talk about today is about dressing and bandaging. For our learning competency, at the end of the lesson you'll be able to explain the principles of wound dressing and demonstrate appropriate bandaging techniques for unintentional injuries. As for our objectives, number 1, discuss wound dressing and bandaging. 2, explain the importance and purpose of bandaging. 3, identify the different kinds of bandaging. And 4, demonstrate different types of bandaging techniques in different kinds of injury. Wounds can be present over different parts of the body. However, the basic principles of choosing wound dressing remains the same. Choosing the correct dressing will lessen the time of healing, provide cost-effective care, and improve the patient's quality of life. First, what is the meaning of wound dressing? A wound dressing is anything that is used in direct contact with the wound to help it heal and prevent further issues or complications. There are different purposes of wound dressing. Number 1, to promote wound healing by primary intention. 2, to prevent infection. 3, to assess the healing process. 4, to protect the wound from mechanical trauma. 5, to absorb drainage. And lastly, to prevent contamination from bodily discharge. Wound dressing also follows the following principles. Number 1 is to practice strict aseptic technique to prevent infection. 2, all articles should be disinfected thoroughly to make it sure that they are free from pathogens. Number 3, wash hands before and after the procedure. 4, instruments used for one dressing cannot be used for another until they have been re-sterilized. Next, use masks, sterile gloves, and gowns for large dressing to minimize the wound contamination. And lastly, use individually wrapped sterile dressing and equipments for greatest safety wound. There are also different kinds of wound dressing. Number 1 is what we call gauze dressing. These are made of woven or non-woven materials and come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. Used on infected wounds, wounds which require packing, wounds that are draining, wounds requiring very frequent dressing changes. Another kind of wound dressing is the transparent film. It allows oxygen to penetrate through the dressing to the wound while simultaneously allowing moisture vapor to be released. Next is foam dressing, which are less apt to stick to delicate wound beds, are non-occlusive, and are composed of a film-coated gel or a polyurethane material which is hydrophilic in nature. And lastly is hydrocolloid dressing. These are non-breathable, self-adhesive dressing. They work by creating moist condition to help speed up healing time and are made out of a flexible material for increased comfort. Wound dressing is very essential because it helps facilitate wound healing. They typically replace the damaged tissues and provide a moisturized environment for appropriate cell migration, thereby resulting in minimal scar tissue formation. Now that we are done in discussing wound dressing, let's proceed to another important discussion, which is bandaging. What is bandaging? This is the process of covering a wound or injured part. The purpose of bandaging are: number 1, to prevent contamination of wound by holding dressing in position. 2, provide support to the part that is injured, sprained, or dislocated joint. Number 3, to provide rest to the part that is injured. And 4, to prevent and control hemorrhage. There are different types of bandages, such as triangular bandages, roller bandages, and tiled bandages. So whatever type of bandage that you are going to use, all these type of bandages could produce different kinds of bandaging techniques. There are different kinds of bandaging techniques. 1 is scalp head injury bandaging. 2, arm sling injury bandaging. 3, chest injury bandaging. 4. Abdominal bander. 5. Knee binder. 6. Forehead injury bandaging. 7. Ear, cheek, jaw injury bandaging. Next is shoulder injury bandaging. And lastly is ankle injury bandaging. As you can see in the video, there are different procedures on how to create or how to apply these different types of bandages. So, as you can see in the picture, the following are the procedures on how to conduct different bandaging techniques for the wrist, for the head, and even for arm injuries. You may refer to this picture in order for you to conduct those different first aid treatment for different injuries that requires bandaging. Now that we are done with our discussion, I'm going to explain to you what will be your performance activity in health for the third quarter. The topic that we are going to discuss is about different bandaging techniques using a video tutorial. So how are you going to make this performance activity? Number 1 is to create a 3 to 5 minute video tutorial demonstrating the different types of bandaging techniques. You may refer to the following link to have a basic tutorial on how to conduct different bandaging techniques. So the link is provided in this video. How many video tutorials are you going to make for each type of bandaging techniques? As many as you can, as long as the video will only last for 3 to 5 minutes. So you may choose what type of bandaging techniques that you are going to present in this video tutorial. So how are you going to submit this activity? I will post a performance activity task on Google Classroom, and there you will turn in your video tutorial. If you have any more questions regarding your performance activity, just don't hesitate to give me a personal message or comment on this video presentation that I am showing to you right now. So that ends our discussion for today about wound dressing and different bandaging techniques. Again, if you have any questions regarding our discussion, don't hesitate to give me a personal message. I hope that you learned something from me in this discussion, and I see you again next time. Goodbye!